Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me welcome all the panel, especially my former colleague, Congressman Colby. Thank you for being here. I'm a co-sponsor of UAFA as well, and I hope that we can include it in this bill. I think it should be part of it. I've said on this Gang of Eight, I kind of hate this gang thing. I'm sure Senator Flake does too, but I've been involved in so many gangs you'd think I'd have a few tattoos by now. But I would tell you that we spent a lot of time on a lot of subjects. We probably spent as much, if not more, H-1Bs than anything else. And that I would have been surprised if somebody would have told me that in advance. And we came to it basically, and I listened to Mr. Smith, Professor Hira, who has been a consultant. Thank you for your kind words on this whole subject. And we came to it with the premise that if we could bring in the talent, even the talent we're educating in America, and keep them here to grow our businesses and grow our jobs, it's in the best interest of the country. And I would say to my friend and colleague, Senator Grassley, yes, it was Grassley-Durbin, Durbin-Grassley for a long time. I didn't add my name as co-sponsor this time because I was sitting in this group, and I felt that I really had to be open-minded to work toward a compromise. But please do not sue me for any alienation of affection. I agree with you on the principles that you've espoused. Here's what it gets down to, Mr. Smith. When Microsoft and other companies come and tell me, we're going to put our research facility in the British Columbia, if you don't give us some opportunity in the United States of America to bring in the talent we need to build the products we need to prosper. I get it. I've also been a commencement speaker at the Illinois Institute of Technology and watched the graduates from South Asia and China coming across the stage for multiple advanced degrees, thinking we're handing them a diploma and a map on how to get on the Kennedy Expressway out to O'Hare at the same time, which I think is a mistake. But here's what it gets down to, Mr. Smith. There are some specific abuses of H-1B. Professor Hira, Mr. Gupta have pointed them out. These outsourcing firms like Infosys, Wipro, Tata, and others, Americans will be shocked to know that the H-1B visas are not going to Microsoft. They're going to these firms, largely in India, who are finding workers, engineers, who will work at low wages in the United States for 3 years and pay a fee to Infosys or these companies. I think that is an abuse of what we're trying to achieve here. Most people would think, well, Microsoft needs these folks, and they'd be shocked to know that most of the H-1B visas are not going to companies like yours. They're going to these outsourcing companies. I sat at the table and I said, I'm for increasing H-1Bs only if we offer the job to an American first at a reasonable wage so that they have a chance to fill that position, and if they can't, then we bring in the talent. Mr. Smith, what's wrong with it? And what's wrong with having a provision in here that says, I don't want you to fire an American worker so you can hire an H-1B worker?
Well, first of all, Senator Durbin, I want to thank you for all the consideration you've given, frankly, to our industry's point of view over the last few months, because I appreciate that an enormous amount of work has been done to strike a compromise. I personally think it's important that we both recognize the need for these firms to evolve their business model. I've had these conversations myself with them in India that encourages them to focus on hiring more people in the United States.
If 50% of their employees are H-1B visa holders, if they have more than 50 employees and more than 50% are H-1B visa holders, it suggests to you they know their economic model and how they can make money.
Well, as you know, the bill will put an end to that. It will say that if they don't change that within 3 years, they won't be eligible for any H-1Bs at all. And I, frankly,
you support
that? I told them that 3 years ago. They better recognize that. There's no large country in the world that allows people to employ over half of their people from outside the local population. So I do support that. I do think it's important that one not eliminate their ability to do good work, because they also do good work. And I don't want to lose sight of that.
But would you buy my premise that if there's a job opening at Microsoft, the first responsibility of Microsoft is to hire an American?
I will buy that premise, but I will qualify it in this one respect. If the #1 student in the PhD class at the University of Illinois happens to come from China, and that person as a PhD student filed 6 patent applications and is clearly the pioneer in her field, I want us to hire her.
But and I know this is subjective. Employers are subjective.
Right.
All things being equal,
If you can equalize everything else in life, then the job should go to an American.
American
every time.
first.
Absolutely.
So offering this on a website,
Absolutely.
attesting to the fact that you have done this,
I think as long as we don't get lost in the details that may have unintended consequences, yes, these kinds of things absolutely can work.
well, I see I'm out of time here. I certainly wanted to ask Professor Hira and Mr. Gupta a question or two, but I do want to commend Senator Klobuchar and also you, Mr. Smith, because I think this notion of more homegrown American talent is something we all should applaud, and if it means charging a higher fee to bring in a foreign H-1B worker so that we can create scholarship opportunities for American students to become tomorrow's engineers, I think that's what America wants us to do. And I'm glad that Senator Klobuchar led in that effort. I'm glad you've endorsed it. Thank you.